22 minutes past 9 a.m. Central African time. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. This is News and Views on Salam Media. My next guest this morning, Shenaaz Fareed. She's a Palestinian humanitarian activist. She's been one for 30 years. She traveled through South Africa in 2011 to create awareness of the atrocities committed against the Palestinians in Gaza. She's also the author of a book called Gaza Forgotten, A Woman's Journey to an Open-Air Prison. This book was inspired by her visit to Gaza during the war in 2011. Most recently, she has actually been awarded the Women of Purpose Award, and she joins us now to speak to us. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To you and your listeners of Salam Media, shukran for having me.
Congratulations on receiving this award. I think we could start there. How do you feel about it?
Shukran so much. It was such a surprise because I didn't even know that I was nominated. But alhamdulillah, through the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we get noticed sometimes, and I'm very grateful for this, and I was very, very happy to receive the award. But I do wish that I could get the bigger award, inshallah, in the year after. Ameen, ameen, summa ameen.
Ameen. Yes, of course. I think it is quite a well-deserved award. I think many would agree. You've been an activist, a humanitarian activist, for at least 3 decades now. Can I just ask, what inspired you to take up this particular cause?
I met Maulana Ihsan so many years ago. And he was actually my role model. I used to speak to him a lot. We were involved in the Al-Quds Foundation years later. But before that, I used to go to the, when you're young, you don't really take notice of all these things. But for me, it was something that just stuck in my head. And I used to read literature, and I used to hear Maulana Ihsan speaking, and that inspired me, and that just wanted me to be the person that I am today, is that I wanted to do everything in my power to help the Palestinians, especially the people in the Gaza. And when I started off in Portsburg. I used to have a table at the square there with my big box TV and my little big cassette, DVD. Where I used to push the cassette in, have my money box there, and I would play the video all the time about Gaza and what's happening in Palestine and all this atrocities, etc., etc. And people used to just come and stand and watch and shop and come and stand and watch and put money in the box. And alhamdulillah, that's how I started off. My youngest son is 33 today, and he was 3 years old. And I used to take all my kids, and I had 4 kids at that time. And I used to take all my kids with me, and they used to be involved, playing around there, going around with boxes and collecting money. So that's where the passion for Gaza started. Where I felt that they need us, and we need to do something. We have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I think the Fordsburg that you started at, the Fordsburg Square, it's not exactly the same one that is there today. Lots has changed. But one thing for sure that hasn't changed since then is that Israel continues to look at the Palestinians as animals. It continues to perpetrate the worst atrocities against these people. It continues to target the integrity and the sovereignty of the Palestinian state. Now, you've written a book, right? And that, of course, is called Gaza Forgotten, A Woman's Journey to an Open-Air Prison. That was after you went to Palestine in 2011. Talk to us about your book and, just your observations of the last few weeks as they've been unfolding in Palestine.
Okay, when I went to the Gaza and I came back, it was the heartbreak, the struggles, the hardship, and all the painful stories that will remain with me forever. It urged me to come back, and I could not sleep. I could not eat at night. I was so disturbed. And I thought, what can I do to help my brothers and sisters in the Gaza? And then I started writing this book. And when I didn't tell my family about it, nobody knew. I just used to sit and write and write, and I used to think, I used to look at my photographs, and that just brought back these memories, and that's how my book started coming together. And when I went to the publishers and they asked me, they said to me, Sister Shenaaz, what name? What are you going to name this book? And I said to her, you know what? The world leaders, the world has forgotten about Gaza. So I want my book to be Gaza Forgotten. And then in 2011, that was already Gaza was forgotten. The world leaders are not looking and understanding how desperate and how hard it is in the Gaza. So my book was inspired. The name Gaza Forgotten was something I had to do, and I had to choose that name because I was hoping that it would create the awareness amongst the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims all over the world, inshallah. And that's why I wrote the book Gaza Forgotten.
Mm.
And then
I
when the
just
publishers asked me, Shenaaz, why not another name? And I said, no, let's stick to that name. And I'm glad I did because the world had forgotten about Gaza.
mm, just looking at the subtitle of this book, it says a woman's journey to an open air prison. Now, I think this was in 2011. Since then, we know that the narrative has shifted, at least slightly. And people are now describing it as a concentration camp more than an open air prison. What would you like to see um, people do in response to the genocide that we are watching in Gaza?
I would like the world leaders to send their armies, send help. You know what? I'll tell you something. When I sold my book, I asked him to put up an agricultural borehole with the sales of my book. And I promise you, I can send a video to you or pictures, and you can see the ancient equipment that was used in the Gaza. I mean, if you go to the Gaza, you will see nothing is modern that they use. They've got these old ancient trucks, old stuff, the roads, the shop. Everything is just not. It's so old, and we need the world to help us. Send money. Let them rebuild that Gaza. Let them build decent homes for the people. Let them do what hospitals must be upgraded. Schools must be upgraded. There is so much destruction in the Gaza. Then in 2011, can you imagine now what it looks like? What's happening? We see it on TV. We can, it breaks my heart. I promise you, I get so tearful and I get so emotional when I think of what is happening at the moment. And I think the whole world is crying. The whole world is crying, besides the world leaders, those that can help. Our Muslim countries can do something, but they just want to sit back and do nothing, you
Mm,
know? And Palestine should be on everybody's mind. It should be an everyday worry and concern. Not only when they are under attack, we should suddenly wake up. We should be trying to help rebuild Gaza and help it to be a beautiful place. Gaza can be like Durban on the beachfront. All the hotels, we should be doing airports, helping to put an airport and a seaport. I mean, if you look back at when we went to the Gaza, we went to check the seaport, we went to check the air. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. It's just rocks and devastation. So,
mm,
we should actually try and do that and say, let us all just help rebuild Gaza. Alhamdulillah, and if the countries, the Muslim countries especially, can come together and say, let us do this and let us do that, it will help.
yeah. When you went to Gaza, when you visited this area, that was in 2011. There's since been a war in 2014. There was more atrocities in 2021, and now again 2023. So it seems, despite the overwhelming evidence of genocide, of ethnic cleansing, of atrocities being perpetrated in Gaza, there still are people who would reject this reality. They would deny this reality and continue with the status quo. But I think that's all we've got time for this morning. Shukran so much for your time.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for having me. And also, just a reminder that people, if they would like to purchase my book, please to contact you people or contact me. And all funds raised on this book is going to the Gaza for a Sadaqah Jariyah on behalf of our deceased family, on behalf of us, and just for water. Inshallah. I just wanted just to remind our Muslim brothers and sisters out there that Gaza is our land of gathering and our land of resurrection. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take us to task if we do not help in whichever little way we can. And I thank our Muslim community in South Africa, all over the world that is currently making dua, marching, doing whatever they can by raising funds, etc., to help our Muslim brothers in Gaza. And shukran for having me. I'm very humbled and it was an honor to be on your show.
You're welcome. And of course, please do keep up the good work. But you go well, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Sister Shenaaz Fareed, a humanitarian activist who's been advocating for the cause of the Palestinians for quite some time now. In fact, I think it's been 3 decades. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll see what the Africa Muslims Agency is doing in Cairo.